And we are live. This is Artcasters Chat 8. There's a bunch of people who signed up, but it's just us three. There's a chance that other people may join it during. I'll keep watch. But for now, it's John, Sly, and myself, Peter, your humble host. So, John, how's it going? I haven't, talked to you in a long time, man.
It's been like almost 2 hours, and it's just that's too long. That's too long. What are we gonna? I mean, we can't handle that kind of isolation, man. It's terrible.
And you're already working on a new page.
You can't stop me. I am John Krasowski, author of Everyday Abnormal, everydayabnormal.thecomicseries.com. Please go read it. I also have a Patreon, which I think was donated to me by somebody. I don't remember. It just showed up, and I was in charge of it one day, so.
Yeah, cool.
I gotta come up with more of these jokes for the Patreon thing. I don't know.
I come up with jokes, like during conversation. I'm like, it's tougher to just like write jokes out. Anyway, I'm pretty funny on my Facebook, so check out my Facebook. Sometimes.
Often.
And we have Sly. Hey, welcome, Sly.
Hello, how's it going? I am Sly the Mongoose. I have an illustration blog that I started last year, slythemongoose.blogspot.com. A few years out of a graphic design degree that I'm trying to make work, and there you go. I just realized I was also watching the show on another tab, so I had this doubles.
No problem. Some people do that and then like have the video playing, and that becomes an echo.
Yeah,
but I didn't hear anything. Cool. Well, definitely welcome. We love new people, and hope you join us again sometime.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I am Peter Palmiotti, and you know the way to find me. If you're watching this, then subscribe to my channel if you haven't. That's all I request. Because I love subscribers. And this way you don't miss an episode.
It is the easiest way to hear my sultry voice.
That's right. It's probably the only way.
I'll probably listen to this again as I'm trying to fall asleep. just to hear your voice, John.
It's so smooth and soothing.
Yes.
I'm in a really weird mood today, guys, so bear with me.
Well, you have to refill those meds.
It's not my fault they keep running out. They're so good.
It's not candy. They aren't Skittles. So, what kind of stuff do you do on your illustration blog, Sly?
On my blog, it's more of a easily accessible for most people area for me to just share what I've done. I have some work up there from my college career. On the day-to-day, just kind of try and keep myself busy and work up my skills. Drawing, painting. I got into some calligraphy that I've been working on. That's really all my blog is about. It just talks about my process. It's pretty simple. I have an Instagram that I post on more regularly, but it's not just my art either. It's pictures of beers that I drink and other fun things.
So what's your career path, do you think? Are you like looking for work in the industry? Or are you planning to work for yourself? Are you
Well,
looking to
hopefully,
be picked up by Pixar? Who
no,
knows?
that would be nice, I'm sure, but um, likely not in the cards. I don't know. I shouldn't think that way. Of course, tomorrow they're gonna contact me. Um,
That's right, because they watch my show.
right.
Hey, I know
Um,
exactly how that goes. Marvel's been going to be contacting me tomorrow for about 30 years now, so.
um, well, I did have like an hourly regular style job. I worked in a store and sold beer and cigarettes every day. I kind of made the mistake of quitting that job without having another one lined up. So for the last couple of months, I've kind of been trying to wing it. And I sold a painting on eBay. It was the first piece of art I've sold. Um, that's
Cool.
exciting.
That is
Um,
exciting.
Yeah.
hard to keep up a consistent workflow a lot of times, though, especially while you're searching for a job. I've heard like a saying, um, job searching is a full-time job in itself. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, plenty of artists go through that. Plenty of artists don't always make a full living through doing art, illustration, whatever you're doing. Um, but do you have, besides the blog, do you have any sort of store like prints or
no,
original art
I
online?
haven't been able to work into that yet. I do have
Okay.
kind of an issue trying to get a decent like photograph of a lot of finished artworks or a scan or anything like that. Working on like the minimum sort of budget deal. Um,
Right.
so eventually maybe I'll be able to get a decent sort of works to better make prints out of. I'm actually currently not like as we speak, but have been off and on for the last little while, working on a painting for my buddy's EP that he's releasing. He makes chiptune music. I don't know if you know what that is, but he makes music on a Game Boy basically.
Okay.
I,
For, what is that
Peter's
used?
Peter's confused. I actually like chiptune music quite a bit.
Is it just like for listening or
Yep, yep,
specifically
just to
for
listen.
something? Just to
Um,
listen. Okay.
yep, he's
I
putting
know
it
eight
up on Bandcamp. He'll put it up on Bandcamp as soon as I can get his album artwork finished out for him.
Okay. And that Bandcamp is free? I forget.
I think it is. I don't know if it's free to use or like poster stuff, but you can um, either, let people listen for free or download for free, or there's an option to
Right.
donate to them as well.
Okay.
I think he's gonna put it up for free, option to donate, but is more just to try and get attention to his work.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I know like 8-bit music, like video, like old time video game. I've seen a lot of that lately.
That is what it is.
I
Chiptune and
don't know if
8-bit
you.
are I think the same thing as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know the lingo you young kids use. So.
It was new to me up until a couple of years ago too. I mean, I've played my share of Nintendo games, of course, but
Yeah.
didn't know the terminology.
Cool. So, besides seeking work, uh, do you want to get some solid, like, you know, career path going, you think?
It would be nice. It's been a thought. Um, I haven't ever delved into art as a job, like in the literal type of sense like that. So not sure what to expect from that. But if I was ever to get an opportunity, I would definitely try it.
Right. Well, I know, like, I started off, as a comic book anchor, and I've done that for a long, long time. And uh, originally, I was all about working for companies or, even individuals. But with the path of working for Marvel and DC, um, and that was good, 20 years ago. Um, but now it's become clearer and clearer to me that really, like, for any artist to do well, they sort of have to have their own setup. It's most successful artists I know have their own store. If it's a comic person, then they have their own comics, web comics going. Um, you have prints. You have, resin model kits. You have, beach towels.
Sounds
The whole
good.
9 yards.
Baseball's the flamethrower.
That's right. And that's like, I'm working on webcomics now, probably the first time successfully, even though it's taking too long between pages, but it's better than I've ever done my whole career. So I'm creating my own books and writing and penciling and inking and coloring and lettering and blah 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 blah. Eventually get done. Um, and it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. It's the whole production end and promoting it and all that. But I think in the long term, it will do me better than just going from job to job working for publishers, and it will probably pay off better down the line as well.
What's
Um,
what's that old saying? Nobody ever got rich by working for somebody else.
yeah, exactly. So that's my headset nowadays, and I'll tell you, like I'm scraping by at the moment. I may actually get an inking gig that will cover all my bases. Me working for somebody else, um, and I do have bills to catch up on. It'll be nice not to worry about things, overhead and whatnot, for a little while. Um, but if I had my way, totally, I'd like to just make money off of what I do. um, so, and I dabbled with eBay, and I'll probably go back to it when I have more time and funds to sort of finance it. Because I know that can be successful. It just takes time and effort. Um, and we're all one-man shows and trying to make our way. But yeah, so trying to encourage people and also be realistic, and these things take time, but you never know what could happen. What's around the bend? You can get opportunity, like we're talking about, like things can happen. Get an email and hey, I got a job. Who knew? Just by like being in the public's face. I mean, by being part of this hangout, people that never seen you or your work before will come across it now. Not to say that specifically my show, but Shows like this that are more successful.
No such thing as bad press.
That's right. So, this is completely open, and we got a small group. So, like, if you want to talk about anything specifically, I mean, we could even talk about.
We can talk about our favorite chiptune artists.
That's right. 2-bit Tony is my favorite.
Okay, actually, that seems like a fairly nice random subject to converse about. What do you guys do anything for drawing music or background noise when you're working? Besides Artcasts.
Yes.
I definitely listen to music.
What kind of music?
Mostly things that a lot of people find angry, I guess. It's harder for a lot of people to listen to. Some bands like the Dillinger Escape Plan or the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza.
That might be my favorite band name ever now. That's that's fantastic.
Is that heavy metal, or is that like actually Tony Danza in the band?
No, Tony Danza is not in the band, but he is actually a tap dancer.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
I didn't know that until I started listening to the band.
Oh.
I just found that out now, so we're learning things here today.
This is great.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, there are times when, I used to listen to music more than I do now, but stuff like Nine Inch Nails, or I listen to a lot of techno, sort of dance music, just because it's like really fast.
Right, keeps your energy up.
And a lot of times it's without words or just very little words. I usually find that better than some talky stuff.
Yeah, I find that, especially if I'm writing, I can't really listen to music with lyrics because it starts interfering with what I'm trying to put down.
Yeah.
But no, if I'm drawing, like I do try and have something that's more upbeat, tempoed, or just something that's got some kind of energy to it. So it'll be a lot of techno or really up-tempo rock or something, or a lot of ska. I listen to a lot of ska. I've got friends who I have made absolutely sick of the entire genre. I've got friends who don't even like ska and know certain Mighty Mighty Boss Tones lyrics by heart because I won't stop playing it. But it's got that energy, it's got that beat, and it, especially since I know a lot of the songs so well at this point, I can just kind of not listen to it exactly, just kind of, I don't have to pay attention to it, I can focus on the work.
Yeah. I nowadays I watch a lot of videos, YouTube videos, because I'm really trying to bust out on YouTube eventually, and it's a long it's a long process, but I'm getting to know like a lot of YouTube artists and their work and how they work, and building a community with the art group on Facebook, and of course doing these hangouts is part of that. I don't really listen to these shows over, like I do them and post them. I might actually go back one day and and listen to them again. Because there's a lot of good stuff, not just promoting myself, but there's a lot of great people that come on these and have a lot of great insights to art and the business of art and just lots of diverse things. But yeah, so like YouTube videos is mostly what I'm looking at now, but I listen to podcasts a lot, and for the past 4 years, a lot of them are art related or comic book related. I listen to a bunch that are writing podcasts and different stuff. There's like one that's this guy Jeff Goldblum originally did something else, is now doing, I think it's called Q&A. It's just he has movie people on, screenwriters, directors, and talking about whatever their latest movie, and like just like how they went about making it, who they worked with, lots of great details and stuff. But yeah, I love that stuff. Can totally get lost in listening as I either mostly pencil or ink or whatever. When I'm writing, it's hard to have anything on. So mostly I don't listen to anything while I'm writing. But it's weird. Growing up, I listened to the radio all the time. I can't stand listening to it now. I have Spotify, which has music on it, and I don't pay for it, so it has commercials, and I just react badly to commercials nowadays.
Yeah.
The only time I don't mind commercials is like when I go over to a friend's place and watch his TV. Somehow that's different. But in my house, we either have movies on disc or we turn on Netflix. Netflix streaming, and there's no commercials on that. So that's also good too. Like to have a movie on, but that could be distracting.
Yeah, I actually have the same problem with podcasts as I do with TV, is that a lot of times I will become engrossed enough that it'll slow me down on the work. So as much as I want to, I can't really use that for drawing music as much. But every once in a while I will throw on Netflix and put on a movie that I've seen 10 million times and recite by heart, because it's keeping my brain occupied with something, but I never actually have to look at my page. That's handy.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes I've tried that and then just ended up watching it. So.
Yeah, that does happen. I
Art
try and
problem.
save watching those types of shows for like when I'm not working, and then listen to music when I am drawing or painting or whatever. Like eating lunch or something, I'll be watching the Artcasters chat, or
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
There you go.
Because usually I'm not actually doing anything else when I'm having lunch or whatever. So there's like an entire hour that I could be using to catch up on stuff.
Right, exactly.
I've gotten horrible, like when me and Lisa eat, we got to be watching something. So we have like a long list of Netflix shows.
I've got a whole queue of stuff on Netflix that I've kind of mentally divided into stuff I want to pay attention to and stuff I can have on while drawing. So I've got this ever expanding list of stuff that I'm never watching because I'm always trying to catch up on some art related thing. oh, I want to see this. I'd better be paying attention to it when I do, though. All right, so I'll catch it later. Just add it to the ever-growing list.
I remember when I first started, making comics and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I didn't have anything going. I worked in silence, and I was like ultra disciplined,
Right, that's willpower, man.
better than I am now. I get distracted too easily now. It's one of those things I really want to work on it. And if it takes me not listening or watching anything while I'm working, then so be it. Because I just want to get more done throughout the day. And I don't know if you know Freddie Williams.
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
Is a comic book artist. Yeah, he's a comic book artist. Works mostly for DC. He's doing his own career-owned project now. And I mean, I can list a bunch of names. Like I worked with Jim Calafiore for years, and he's another guy. I mean, there's people you can cite as extremely workaholics, high work ethic. I really want to get to that point again where I'm highly effective. Where I don't have to work 20 hours a day. I could just work, 14 and get a lot done. Because I know you can pretty much watch me working. Oh, he's goofing off half the time, and at least a third of that is true.
Is that a third of the total time, or a third of the amount of time they think you're goofing? I'm confused.
A third of half.
I confuse
myself. You gotta keep up with the math, man.
Math was never my strong suit. That's why I'm an artist.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I started out in mechanical design or mechanical engineering and had to switch over to graphic design. Can't take the math.
Math is hard. I used to be really good at math, but that went out the window.
My dad's restaurant, when I worked for him for so many years, was largely manning the register, so I got better at math than I wanted to. I can still do some of the algebra in my head if I have to. Which, now that I'm not actually working with money or anything, never comes up.
Algebra in your head is kind of impressive. I could do some geometry in my head, maybe, if I had to.
Yeah, anything that involves equations and geometry, though, is, doesn't... that makes my brain hurt.
I can typically just, visualize it out and, almost draw it on my mind waves, you know what I mean?
Oh, that is terrifying. Yeah, it's all just what you're practiced at, really.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this at some point where, you have the skills you use, weekly, and any skills you've had before that you haven't used, they become rusty, and you really just gotta
I think that
use everything you need.
is very true.
Yeah.
I couldn't do half the stuff I could do in high school, and that was not so long ago, less than 10 years ago.
Yeah. So if it's important to your art, your career, then you just have to make the time to do it. Otherwise, it becomes rusty. John.
So what did I do?
I don't know.
Whatever it wasn't me this time, I swear.
So you're using 3D models in your art, eh?
Yeah, I've actually it was Christy Kuchenmeister turned me on to this program called SI Face Gen, and it's no replacement for being able to draw a face, but it's very nice to get perspective because heads are like the most complicated thing to get perspective on.
Yeah, like heads and
Like,
hands.
And I have a real problem with consistency in my faces, like the consistent proportions and everything. And using this helps a lot with that.
Right.
Plus, I've gotten better variety in my head shapes and faces. Like since I started using this and started practicing with it, then I've noticed that because I can force myself to build a different shaped model. I can if I've got a big palooka of a guy that I need, I can actually make the head look a little more square, a little more blocky, and then use that. And that's not a shape that I normally if I'm just drawing a character, I won't normally draw that. So that helps get me outside of my comfort zone a little bit. It's been a very, very nice tool for me.
I can imagine. It looks fascinating.
It's it does have the same problem as Poser, where if you're using it as a replacement for just your natural style, then it looks really unnatural and it looks really odd. But if you're just using it as a baseline to get your angles and your facial features right, then I've had really good experience with it. So
yeah, there's a lot of people that do like 3D comics, and while like the backgrounds and the costumes are amazing, even special effects and whatever, blah blah blah, the figures still, mostly look like stiff mannequins.
yeah, there's one particular artist that I'm thinking of who's done a lot of those 3D model comics, and they just all look dead, Because I mean, for as fast as said artist is putting out the comics, there's no time to individualize them and do something like a modern day 3D animated movie would do, and really try and bring out that personality and that expression and make everybody unique. That just you got to get that out, and it just looks very, very bland. It looks dead.
Yeah. Although I can imagine like that they would eventually, over time, much material, get really good at it and improve like anything,
Yeah. But I also kind of wonder if it's not working against the comics medium a little bit, because comics are unless you've got a hyper comic or something that uses a little bit of animation, which I've seen done very well, you are using still images. I mean, that's where your story is being told. That's how you're communicating everything. So if you've got a lot of those 3D models and the 3D animated movies look so great because they are animated, and you take that away, and
yeah,
it isn't following the same rules of what people like in 2D images. So I don't know. It's just an interesting sort of conundrum, and I tried to avoid the whole thing.
well, it's like anything. I mean, I like traditional comics, and I do enjoy seeing other things, but usually I just go back to, it's what I like most is penciled and inked and blah blah blah. But there's like photo comics where people do a lot more work and and set up scenes and costumes and take pictures of their friends and then throw word balloons on top of that, and those are interesting. I never actually sat down and read one, but
I haven't seen one done really well yet. I mean, there's probably some out there, but I haven't seen one done really well. But I think that's coming. I think that's kind of an untapped. I think that's potentially an untapped field of comics that you might be able to do some really interesting art with.
I could definitely agree. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's called Fumetti because
Okay.
because it first developed in Italy, and that's the name they gave it.
Yeah, it's supposedly really popular there to the point of that's their comics. For the most part, I don't know. I never went there. But yeah, I mean that's where I first heard about it. It was out in Italy, and that's what their comics look like. Everything was that sort of style and approach. Um, and if that works for you, hey, by all means. Um, Nowadays we got like DeviantArt is trying really hard to bring on motion comics, and I've probably said this once or twice before, but it's it's really beautiful stuff. I've seen some fantastic motion comics, but I get 8 pages in, and I'm like bored, and I haven't read it. I'm just looking at it. It's not my thing, and I could see where, to me, it looks like just a trend kind of thing. I can't imagine reading a comic in only that fashion. For me, it takes twice as long to read a page. If I'm going from, like how they pop up, it's like a pound, and then you have to click and click and click and click. It's kind of,
The most interesting experiments I've seen done with photo comics were actually with GIFs. So they've got very small animations that are just kind of accentuating the action. Or there was a comic I saw a couple of months ago, and it was just an absolutely fantastic piece of work. But it was just the one strip, but it was huge. Like it was 800 pixels wide, and it was 12 screens down or something. But it was all one GIF, and it was all about this memory of the author of when his mom used to take him on these car rides, which there's a lot of repeating imagery there. And since it was a GIF, like that just kind of he was able to repeat that and kind of give this great sense of place and when he's describing the rumble of the car, and the panel is actually rumbling a little bit, but you don't have to wait for it to do anything next because the rumble is the point. Like, I don't know, it was very well done.
Right.
I wish I could remember off the top of my head who did that, because it was beautiful work. I think if motion comic kind of things are gonna start developing, that's probably the most effective direction they're gonna go.
Possibly.
That sounds like a concept
I've seen
that would fit that.
what is it? The Jason Remind. Forget his name at the moment now. Yeah, I'm not gonna remember. But okay. Anyway, here's a new strip, or something like that, and it's it's like a long strip, and you scroll down and you read it, and it's not totally traditional. It's oh, here's Jeff.
Hey, Jeff is here.
And all I want to say is about it is, like he'll have water in the background or something, and that's a gift because the water is in motion, but it's always in motion. It doesn't. You don't have to wait for it or click on it or anything, and it's just in the background.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really beautiful stuff, and to me that's less intrusive too. It's like it's more like a real comic.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Hey Jeff.
Hey Peter.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for coming to my show.
Sorry, I'm late. Couldn't get the internet going this morning. It just went off like right before the show started, and then it's back on. I hope it keeps going.
Murphy's Law.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it.
Timing.
Hey John, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Who's the other guy? Sly?
Yeah, I'm Sly the Mongoose.
Yeah, Sly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen you online a couple times, or around.
Yeah. I pay pretty close attention to you guys. I don't have a whole lot of content to add, but I like watching your guys' stuff. It's inspiring.
That's cool.
We appreciate that.
What you guys talking about?
So yeah, we had no.
We were
I
talking
just want
about.
to mention we had a number of people sign up, but haven't showed up.
Yeah.
So it's a smaller show, but different things, music, what we listen to, podcasts, videos.
Yeah.
You can tell them, John.
We were in the middle of a discussion about motion comics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And effective ways to do them and not effective ways to do them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're tough. I don't know. I've seen a couple I kind of like, but most of them I just can't get into. Do you guys like them?
Peter and I were kind of discussing that. There's comics that are set up as GIFs or GIFs, so that they do short repeated animations that kind of help sell a scene, but don't actually read differently than comics do.
Yeah.
I think trying to do what we usually call motion comics, where it's taking a comic and then animating it, I don't think that really works ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree.
I mentioned Jason Brubaker. That's who I was trying to think of. Does his webcomic now, where it's just like subtle things in the background are GIFs, and it just improves the visuals, but it's nothing you have to click on. It's nothing you have to wait for.
That Sithra comic he's doing, he's actually got
Sithra.
some like animated. Yeah, I was reading that for a little bit. I didn't stick with it though. That's interesting. I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, some of those ones that have like a little bit of animation like that, where it's just a little bit of movement, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was only one that I remember seeing where it was like water in the background and the water was in motion, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, hey, Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
I don't know if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Great. I
Hey,
can only
Greg, how you
be
doing?
here for a little while, but I figured I'd say hi and join the discussion for a little while.
Glad to have you aboard.
Cool, man.
I mean, at least I am. I can't speak for anybody else here, but they're nice people. I think they're. They probably appreciate it too.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too. So what are you guys talking about today?
Motion comics, a little bit, just
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw one.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we've kind of been all over the place, and that's just where we ended up most recently.
Right. Well, I guess I can be the naysayer.
You don't like them?
No, I think they're fun. The couple of Marvel projects, the Extremis one, and there was an X-Men one, which I think you can watch on Netflix. They're quite interesting. They can be really well thought out interpretations. The problem, as I see it, is that even the biggest companies couldn't make any money doing them, and
Right.
the degree of work that goes into making a motion comic is pretty much identical, although somewhat shorter term, than making a full-blown animated sequence. So I see them as kind of an interesting oddity and an artifact of the sort of a period of time in where the web and digital tools intersect with comics. But I don't think that they're going to have any kind of staying power past specialty projects that people want to spend a year on or 6 months on with a team or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the consensus in here. I don't think anybody really is
Yeah,
loving
that's not really naysaying. That's just yay-saying.
Well, I just started listening, so I had no idea. So I was going to just assume that maybe I'd be the grumpy guy in the corner going, there's motion comics,
No, you're pretty much of the opinion that the what have been called motion comics are not actually that good or feasible, but I think people are finding ways to put animation into projects that they're still comics. They're not quite hyper comics yet, but they really do add to the experience.
I mean, there's a couple of web comics out there that have effectively used little GIF animations and stuff, and that's kind of interesting. Although I hear that it can still cause load time problems for some people. But I think it's a really fascinating way to kind of have a little bit of motion and maybe also not deviate from what actually works with comics as a 2D medium. Cycling of colors or cycling of very, very limited things, I think, is 100% more effective than trying to animate an entire sequence of what is basically a two-dimensional art form. And that's where I think it's also a problem and why it probably won't ever work, because it's at completely cross purposes with the actual, when you like the medium of comics as opposed to a genre. It's the actual mechanics of how one interacts with a comic, even if it's online, is still effectively two-dimensional. And motion comics just kind of like awkwardly has a foot in both animation and 2D graphics, and I think it's very awkward and doesn't work. But I think the animated GIF thing is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned Netflix having some of Marvel's motion comics, and I just remembered they had the Astounding X-Men, the one that what's his name, Josh Whedon wrote.
Yep.
And to me, it looked like the cartoons that Marvel did TV.
Yeah.
It's really clunky animation.
Yeah, Gantry Lawrence cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those Gantry Lawrence, which was a Canadian company, and they did Rocket Robin Hood before that, and also did they did Rocket Robin Hood. It's almost like that's that's still in some ways the best comic or superhero comic turned cartoon stuff that I've ever seen, because they just basically just lifted the panels and just animated in these, and it's kind of grotesque,
Yeah.
in this kind of way, because like the mouths move, but everything else is utterly static. And I actually think on just a total outsider art level, like they're not even aware of it, but I think they were making something unbelievably artistic, but but without any intention. It's like complete naive art, those.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, the way they move they distort the drawings with like After Effects or whatever they're doing there or whatever, and it seems, I don't know, that's something I don't like about it too. It's just the bizarre kind of way the drawings like tweak, and because I don't know, I think it's just like I like art, and in some ways it's like, oh, don't mess all the art up. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just another thing layer to it to me.
I see what they do in motion comics as good for like maybe comic book trailers,
Yeah,
but that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
that's true.
It's like
When I see like a book trailer like that, it doesn't bug me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think it just seems like it's almost like a poor animation in a way. It just seems like, why even call it a motion comic? It's almost just like it's animation.
Well,
That is a good point.
I think they came up with that term and then decided they needed to do something with it.
Yeah.
Hey, what's next? Because I mean, when the first ones of those started coming out, it was a few years ago now, and the webcomic thing had seemed to have tanked a little bit, and
Yeah.
the companies are really wanting to figure out what the next big thing is. So every company in every medium ever, when presented with that, wants to make the next big thing. So,
Yeah.
hey, what can we do to improve comics? Let's add motion to it, and then it wasn't what they were hoping for, I don't think.
Yeah. I know, it's funny because I kind of paid attention to the motion comics thing when they first started, and then I hadn't really looked at it, and like a month ago or something, I was kind of noticing some on YouTube, and I noticed how many there are. I mean, there's just like a million of them now on YouTube, like by Marvel and all of the standard comics, and I was kind of disappointed that it was all that stuff,
You wanted to see something new.
Yeah.
There was one I saw on DeviantArt. I think it was called the Old Curiosity Shop, which was a Charles Dickens book, but I don't think it was related to the old book. But it was kind of it was like a cutout 2D animation in like a 3D sort of a world. I thought it was pretty like creative, but I don't know how much future it would have.
That's an interesting thing, because a lot of times something that's really creative like that doesn't have a future. Like, it sounds horrible to say it like that, but if it's something that other artists can't figure out how to pick up and carry, then it just kind of dies on the vine a little bit.
Right, even some of the best ideas don't survive sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm trying to think of another good example that would be applicable here. Like
like a segue maybe.
Yes.
Wasn't the best idea to begin with anyway, but
I don't know, but that's actually almost any of the fad things, aren't really necessarily bad ideas, but a lot of times they're just stuff that nobody else can figure out what to do the next version of, or what else can we use this for. I don't know, that thought kind of didn't go anywhere.
I mean,
it sounded interesting up in my head.
My bottom line is, I'm sure there's people out there that enjoy them, and good for them, and I'm sure there's people out there that that enjoy making them. So good luck to them. It's a big enough world, but just not my thing.
Somebody will figure out something, and then everybody's go like, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?"
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna do solar powered comics.
Isn't that just print comics?
No.
Because regular comics can't be read without light.
No, like comics that feed off the energy of the sun. I don't know.
See, you just invented the motion comic. You have an idea,
so I think,
and now you need to make something that uses it, but you have no idea what that should be.
yeah, that's how they invent stuff, right? So I think we lost Greg and Jeff.
Oh.
I know Jeff's thing froze for a little bit.
Yeah, he might have lost his connection, like he said he was having trouble with getting in to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
That is unfortunate.
So
it's okay. We started this
let's-
Artcast together. We can end it together.
Yeah, it
That's
starts
right.
and ends with us.
Yes.
I got a couple of viewers. I know we started late. I didn't really want to go too far past 5, so I don't know. I guess we'll see if anybody pops up or whatever. So let's change it off into something else. So what kind of preferred tool do you prefer? Oh, I'm tired.
It's been a long one.
Sly, do you like traditional pen and ink or watercolor or painting in acrylic? What do you prefer
I've kind of been
method-wise?
testing the waters, and if you will, like seeing what I like to work with most. I have dabbled in sort of all of that and a little bit in digital, but my brain doesn't necessarily seem to like to want to work in digital. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. I like pencils a lot. It seems to be easier for me. I can, there's always the eraser there, but been trying to branch out into inks because I think the texture that you can get with the hatching sort of technique is like extremely aesthetic and like interesting to look at.
So what kind of tools do you use?
Prismacolor turquoise pencils and Micron pens. I have some dip pens as well. I just am not quite sure what sort of inks to use because they seem to dry out on the nib like pretty often, and I can't continually draw, it seems.
Are you talking like a hunt quill?
Yes, like that.
Okay. I prefer Pelican,
Okay, I've heard that name.
but it's it's not as easy to find. In fact, you have to buy like a big jug of it online if you want it. But Black Magic works fine. What I do is I keep a couple of small bottles, and I usually make one for quill and one for regular brushes. The ink I use for quill is has more water in it. It's not as dried out, the ink.
Right.
I even add water to it if it's too thick. And I usually keep my X-Acto blade around and scrape the tip of the quill point, because it's important that there's like no excess ink on the points. like it looks like there.
Right.
But you just constantly scrape the excess off, keep it, not like too watery, but just not too kind of thick ink on it.
That
And
makes
that
sense.
usually helps. Yeah.
This is why I liked being a penciler when I was working traditional, because I never had to worry about any of this. I
Didn't you have
actually
to sharpen your pencil?
I actually well, no, because I use mechanical. But no, I actually did some inking back in the day, and it was before like Amazon, or there were a lot of really nice online stores to shop through. So trying to do this out of Great Falls, Montana, where we had 2 art stores, and if what you were looking for wasn't in either of them, you were screwed.
Right.
And then the cost added up fast, and the stuff that I was turning out wasn't that good. And it's just like, yeah, inking frightens and confuses me. I respect the hell out of people that can ink, because that is a weird set of skills for me, and requires a lot of patience and experimentation and a steady hand, and those are things I don't always have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for many years it was my focus, so I like to think I'm decent at it.
You're a master at it, dude. What are you talking about?
You are quite excellent, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah, I remember when I first got into inking, that was pre-internet. It was just so damn hard to find, the brushes, and, you'd read in, like, Comic Scene or something, or Comics Journal, what kind of brushes to buy and stuff, and it's like none of those were around. Just trying to figure out what kind of ink to buy, or, where you'd find some, like, good ink, and then it's like you could never find it again for, like, 2 years, It's all such a pain in the ass.
Right, are those little inking brushes that a lot of comic artists like to use, like, they'll always be sold out anywhere. If you ever can find where they like carry them, they're always sold out.
Those were hard to find back then, and yeah, it's like even now they're tough to find. The Winsor Newton Sables or whatever.
Yeah.
I
can't tell you how many Winsor Newton I picked up that were bad.
Yeah.
Just like the brush, just frayed already.
Yeah.
And I stuck with it.
Yeah. Weren't you telling me those, Peter, that you actually used something different than the Series 7 ones? Right. I thought you told me that you were just using other ones.
I have used different ones, but I mostly use Winsor Newton Series 7.
Oh, okay.
There was Raphael I used for a time.
Oh.
I believe those are more expensive.
Oh.
But they're a lot smoother to work with.
Yeah.
So those are really good brushes. I don't know how. Frankly, I don't know how available most things are nowadays, but traditional tools are harder and harder to find.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. It's kind of the truth. I haven't messed around with inking anything for so long that I don't even know if, that stuff is available or something.
It's still out there.
Some ink. It is, yeah. I was looking for some black ink around here somewhere the other day, and I'm like, God, I don't even have ink.
Jeez. I don't even hardly use mine at all, but it's still around here.
The only kind of arts store we have in town, I live in a small town, and it's like, it's a kind of mom and pop copy shop.
Oh no! Yeah.
And they have art supplies, but it's like, just a lot of it's random, this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
I think they have some black ink. I don't think it's anything I would use. But they also have like watercolor black, for watercoloring, I guess. But
yeah. Yeah, I've gotten so that I'm just like online anymore. buy my stuff. I use the same stuff all the time anyway, so I just kind of Dick Black is where I get most of my stuff. But yeah, I mean, we actually have a pretty good art store in town here. This one called Gurry's, and it's like a paint store, and then has a little art store in the back, and it's great. Before that, we used to have like a real art store called Art Hardware, and that place was terrible. Like up by the college, you know. It just never had anything you needed, you know.
There's a big difference between college art stores and an actual art store. Like college art stores are terrible.
Yeah, they just totally, you know, like they bought what they needed, like in the spring, like the kind of stock stuff that the students needed, and it's like anything else they just didn't give a shit about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the staff is the worst, right?
Yeah, they were actually.
Like the college kids working there.
Yeah. And they were like, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, not only is it college students working there, it's college students who have to spend all day working with other college students. They're going to be cranky.
Yeah.
They are going to have no time for your shit anymore.
That's true. Yeah. Then there's Michael's here too. I kind of go in there sometimes looking for cheap stuff, but I don't know. They have weird stuff in there. I mean, sometimes they'll have what you need, and sometimes just no, you know.
The thing with Michael's is that it is first and foremost a hobby store, so
yeah,
you know they're
it's a good place to like pick up like cheap, you know, fixative and stuff like that, and like clear, crystal clear, you know, like that crafty type shit, you know.
Yeah.
But like anytime I go, I'm out of black color pencils. Oh my god, they don't have any. I like searching the town, go to Walmart looking for black color pencils, you know.
That's desperation. Going to Walmart for art supply.
Which I have done.
Yeah.
Hey, same here. If it's between buying a sandwich and art supplies, and you can go to Walmart and buy both, then you know why wouldn't you?
Granted, I don't particularly like giving my money to Walmart, but you know, needs must as the devil drives.
Exactly.
As the saying goes.
I totally agree.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Oh man, I think Jeff is falling out.
Jeff's internet is being kind of mean today.
It's being very mean.
That's too bad. Let's see.
Screw you, Jeff's internet. Oh.
So, Peter, I've heard of people actually taking like a lighter to their quill also to like remove some oil or something from it that comes on there to keep it from rusting. Would that like not come off because with a
I always
paper
consider
towel?
a new quill. I always consider a new quill something you break in.
Okay.
But I never. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things people do that are kind of strange. I never specifically heard that or did that myself. What I do is kind of strange to some people. You know, using an X-Acto blade on it. A lot of people just get a wet cloth and wipe it clean.
That's what I've been
so
doing.
that there's never a buildup of any ink on the tip. I don't mind there being ink on the tip as long as doesn't really like have a thickness to it.
Alright.
And really when it comes down to it, it's the tip and the crack at the tip. That's I guess the most important thing to keep clean. Be aware that like when you're using it, that you pick up straight, paper fibers and cat hair and anything like, and that that's why you got to keep cleaning it. Otherwise, if you get a straight hair and you don't even notice it and you're inking, it could leave a blob on your paper, which you don't want happening.
Right. Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So.
I actually had that happen to me a few times where, stray hair, you don't notice it, you drag it across the page, and then there's a second line where the hair was going.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
I can't fix that. We're going to have to just work with that.
Well, that's a skill you develop over time, is like when you make mistakes, incorporate it, or, make it invisible somehow. I mean, there's the obvious thing of, yeah, you just go in with white over it and totally erase it, but there's no challenge in that.
Right.
You got to incorporate it into the drawing.
Never underestimate the power of creativity.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times you end up with a better end product anyway if you kind of go the wrong... See what you can do with an error or a mistake before you wipe it away completely.
Right, I can agree with that for sure.
There's one of the 100 Days of Making Comics guys, Scott Serklin, is doing his own Artcast, calls it Fan Art Friday, and he was doing Groot, and it was really funny. Like, he's just like showing the pencil drawing, and he takes out the ink to show the ink, and he shows the brush, and there's like ink on the tip of the brush, and he drops the brush.
Oh no!
It goes right over like the upper lip of Groot, and so he's like, "Well, it looks like a mustache," and then he does like curls on each side, and it's like an evil mustache.
Nicely done.
Just like, and
grew that mustache pretty fast.
I mean, he fixed it at the end of the video, but for most of the video, it's like Groot's got an evil mustache.
That's awesome.
Snidely whip Groot.
And just back.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Mm.
It's one of those days, I guess.
Yeah.
They got like a big, huge like bike race thing, like in front of our place where we live, and maybe they're stuck on the internet or something.
Yeah, it's probably.
Maybe one of the bicyclists is leeching.
Well, there's like a huge crowd. They got the street blocked off. It's like dirt bike races around this big track we have in front. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
You are having a really weird day, man.
Yeah.
I know.
He just goes, I know.
Well, thanks for running the show, Peter.
Oh, sure. I told the guys we probably won't do this too far past 5 o'clock. So if there's anything you want to talk about, and I just invited somebody else into the show.
Okay.
Farrell Baldings and.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any topics. Is there? I mean, what do I call you, Sly or Mongoose or what?
Yeah, Sly or the Mongoose or whatever. Yeah.
The Mongoose.
I'll know who you're talking about.
I was just wondering, like, because I saw some of your stuff, but I can't think of, like, if you're posting in the Artcasters, or are you doing videos, or?
I'm not doing videos. That's why I don't have a camera right now, yeah. But I have posted in the Artcasters.
Right. Just trying to think of your art, but I couldn't think of it. What's your
there
website?
was one.
Go ahead. I was just saying, what's your website, but go ahead with what you were saying. I might remember the one you're going to say.
You did make a comment on one of them. One of the posts, it was like a zombie eye with some like other zombie figures like in the background of it, like it was like a reflection in a zombie eye of other zombies.
Oh, no, I remember that one. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That one was for an Instagram competition thing.
Neat. Yeah,
Yeah,
Instagram
it was fun.
That's cool. Yeah, Instagram is like I don't know. I guess because I don't have an iPhone or whatever, I can't figure it out.
That is a bummer. I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android, but it does. I don't think you can post on from your computer.
No,
Yeah.
you can't.
That's stupid.
It is. I agree.
You know, why? That's weird how
Well,
things like become a
okay.
thing and they're not even like easy to use. You know, it's weird.
That's part of the reason why I think I keep using it is because I don't have a very good camera. So the small little images that only show up on phones mostly is kind of, to my advantage.
Yeah.
Make it work for you. That's awesome.
Right, yeah.
Right. Hey, Farrell, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Pretty good.
Good to hear.
I watched that show with you guys, which I commented, the other Studio Synergy. That was funny, man. You had some good guests on there, Peter. I usually can't make it through the Studio Synergy ones, but that one I listened to the whole way, and yeah, it was hilarious.
Well, glad I finally made one that you liked.
No, not that. That they're just long and kind of scattered. You know what I mean? It's like where you jump off at some point. You know, doesn't matter if you come back.
I know.
Harsh.
You know I'm kidding.
Harsh critique.
Is that the one with Kelsey?
It was the one that the two girls were in there, and Farrell was in there.
Yeah, Kelsey and Tiffany.
Yeah. The one chick was like doing like
That's
4
always a-
webcomics and.
Yeah. She was a blast. And I mean, she was like cursing left and right, but it was like G-rated, and she was hilarious.
Totally. Totally.
And Tiffany is actually, I know her from a while back. For a while, I just posted. I was going to do like studio to studio chats for anybody interested, and she took me up on it. Reviewed her work and spoke with her for a while and gave her some advice. And we've just been in contact ever since. And she's great. She's funny too.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a blast.
That's cool. What's like studio to studio chat?
Well, it was like it's just something I came up with and tried it out. A couple people took me up on it, but it didn't become a thing. It was just like you meet me on Skype and we talk for an hour, and
That's cool.
like 3 or 4 times. Like I'll review your work, and then I'll meet up with you again. Going on. Based on the advice and see if you took it and so on and so forth. So
No, that's pretty neat.
It's like I always, anybody who comes up to me at a convention, I review their portfolio.
Yeah.
So part of it was like that.
Yeah.
Except I could do it, anytime. And part of it's just, it's like, well, I think, based on what I'm seeing, I think you should do X, Y, and Z. So it's all, it's just my opinion, if you want.
Yeah, almost like a coaching call or something. I've seen a couple artists doing that around online and stuff.
Yeah, so it didn't exactly take off, but that's okay. Give it a shot.
It's cool to keep trying out your ideas, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's good to just keep throwing stuff out there, honestly.
Yeah, Peter's got a million of them. This whole chat thing is his, I think, wasn't it? I said this whole chat,
I mean,
Artcasters chat was yours.
You came up with the group, and I did Studio Synergy before, and I figured we'd do that, tie it into the group, and come up with its own chat hangout. I think it's worked in spades. It seems to be doing really well. I mean, today was problems, but
Yeah.
we started off with a small group, but lots of people watching them, and most of my highest viewed videos are the Artcaster dads.
Yeah, I think they do. I've had a lot of comments, like, through the week where people watch that show and comment later on and stuff. So I think they do like them a lot. And the group's a success, too, on Facebook. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Really a cool resource.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy with, where things are headed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, pushing the boulder up the hill. One step at a time.
Yeah.
I think that's always the key to improvement, though. Never be happy with where you are. Always be happy with where you're going.
Right.
Right.
I hate the improvement thing. Drives me fucking crazy. No, I was all pissed off yesterday, like 2 days ago. I was like doing this picture, and I'm just like, God, why can't I just learn this shit for good? Seems like you learn that same damn lesson over and over again, and it's just like, God, just makes you mad sometimes.
I saw a cyanide and happiness strip, like with one character telling another, it's like, no, this is great because you're getting better as you're doing work, so you will never meet the level that you set every time you set pen to paper, so you have to do it all over again. Isn't that great? The artist character was just crying. I'm like, that's my life.
So true.
Those guys are really creative. I love their sense of humor, really.
They're pretty hit and miss with me, but that one was just like so spot on. I was just like, that one was so spot on. It actually took me back, like, huh. Well, I'm gonna have to dwell on that one for a minute.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. It's an ongoing thing that just never stops. But I guess that's good too. You don't get bored with it because there's always something to learn. Always trying something.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I've stuck with it. If something's too easy, I just lose interest like immediately.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Actually, that's something that bugs me. Actually, on the with the internet and when you're selling and stuff is like I feel like I'm pigeonholed, or I feel like I need to draw something because that's what's selling or something. That's like always the thing that kind of, I don't know, mentally hurts me or something. Ties me up in knots is because I'm like, oh, I want to try this other crazy thing. I haven't done that yet. You know what I mean? Whereas like they're expecting this, I better get this out so that I can pay the phone bill.
Yeah, that sucks. I've been trying to figure that out for myself.
Every artist kind of goes through that, though.
Yeah, well, I'm sure part of it's just because, like, you're worried that would happen, not necessarily that would happen. I mean, you want that guarantee,
Yeah, it's like a mental game.
Like Hollywood. Yeah, it's like the reason Hollywood does certain kinds of movies and sequels because they know it's going to hit.
Right.
Right. Okay, that's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then also there's the thing too, like you're not always sure why somebody likes your work, and so you kind of want to try and stay somewhat consistent. If it's working now, then technically people should keep coming back for it, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it looks like that's how it works, but then it's hard to second guess or, guess what your audience is into sometimes. I mean, I think of guys like, Thomas Kincaid a little bit, but he's not even like the worst, but like a lot of gallery artists, they really get into that where it's kind of like, okay, that painting worked, now I'm going to do a blue one, a red one, and a purple one.
Right.
Next month I'm going to do, a slightly more blue one. You know what I mean? It's just like the exact same painting, like over and over. That's something I don't want to get into. And I also think even though it seems to work for those people, I just think it's got to hurt you in the long run somehow.
Yeah, wouldn't you get bored?
You would think. I was looking at, like that Thomas Kincaid. I don't know why he popped in my mind, but a while ago I was watching this video of him. He's got a video on YouTube, and, he's almost got like a studio of people that kind of like help him do those things. He's got his technique so down and like what he paints, I guess, that he kind of like can almost, paint part of the painting and then kind of pass it down the line. And
right.
Out the other side comes, and then he also had this whole thing where they were basically like the canvas prints, and then he had like all these artists that were like supposedly apprentices, touching those ones up and then selling them for, as kind of like these hand-touched canvas. You know what I mean?
That's a bummer.
It's just like, I never want it to get to that, even though I'm sure that guy's, a millionaire what times over, but...
Right, but at what cost?
What a bummer. That's what you build,
Well, it depends on what your priorities are. If your priorities are to... this sounds bad. If your priorities are to have financial stability and to eat, then... you've got no problem going the Thomas Kincaid route and selling out. But
how dare you sell out, John? How dare you want to eat?
Hey, clearly I have not sold out because I'm still doing this.
Yeah, that was a little more extreme than what I was thinking.
Well, I mean, it is a priorities thing. I mean, some people just aren't that committed to making the artistic statement,
Right. It's like kind of a business.
I'm starting to realize how much aspects of what I'm doing in the comic are hurting me a little bit because it's a very niche thing, and I do change up the genre basically every story arc. Which if somebody likes a horror arc, they want the next arc to be horror. So I realize that, but on the other hand, I really believe that this is the right way to make this particular comic. So I keep doing this. I could take the gamble and make it a consistently. I could take the gamble and make it something consistently that might sell better, attract more people. But
yeah.
Do you think by doing that you have lost readers?
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible.
I mean, the readers that comment on your site, are they the same ones that started out in the beginning? Are there ones you noticed that?
Actually, I've lost most of the ones that started commenting at the beginning. I
know a lot of people left the site.
I have a. Well, I mean, part of that is just webcomics attrition. It's most people don't stick in webcomics forever. They try it out for a while, realize, wow, this is actually kind of a pain in the ass, and then move on. But for one reason or another, a lot of the people who were commenting and regularly sticking around and letting me know how I was doing aren't there, and they were replaced by new people. And the new people that I've got have been around for a while. They've been through some. I think that the group that I've got now will actually be sticking around for whatever I do.
I mean, if you think about it this way, like Fantastic Four was a popular title. John Byrne was doing it. Let's say there were 100,000 people reading it. From the first issue that John Byrne did to the last issue, I'm sure the audience changed because nobody is consistently picking up any one title for any long length of time.
Sure.
You come on, you drop off. That's the nature of comics.
Yeah. But
Unless you got a subscription for 5 years.
But no, I mean there is something that longevity ties into how many readers you have that are long runners and stick with you for a long, long time. But it's a trade-off. I'm sacrificing some. I don't know how much I'm sacrificing of the truly long-term readers, but either way, I do feel like the way that I'm doing the comic is the best way to do the comic. So to tell this particular story. So yeah, I stick with it.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Jeff froze up again.
Well,
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Well, stop it, Jeff.
Snap out of it.
He just likes doing those freeze motions.
That's his artistic statement for the day.
That's right.
Well, webcomics are kind of a dice roll anyway, though. I mean, you got to look at it like you're putting out what you feel like is the best product that you can put out. That is something that you're into, and you just got to hope other people are into it too.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, it is. I never got into the thing thinking it was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
That's something I'm. I think people think I'm being kind of a downer, but when people ask me, do you think how successful do you think I can make this? I'm like, don't go in and thinking of financial success. Think of it as artistic success, because you are not guaranteed financial or economic success, but you can have huge artistic success.
Yeah.
What? I'm not gonna make $1 million?
Well, might as well quit now.
Well, you might, but rest of us have to fight a little harder.
Okay, I can relax.
Telling me there's a chance.
Nice.
Yeah, well, it's everything's a shot in the dark. It's like a famous painter. If they, going along the lines of what Jeff was getting into, like if they paint this same thing or a similar thing over and over, it doesn't mean anybody who's a fan of his work is going to pick up every painting. Like if they pick up one Conan-esque painting, doesn't mean they're going to pick up all the rest. But if the painter mixes it up and has an audience that likes that sort of thing, like painters who mix it up, it also doesn't mean that any of those are going to sell the same or better, or I don't know.
It's all a little bit of a crapshoot, and that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nature of art. It's that's why art as a business is like to really keep pushing and grow your audience, because it's better to keep growing your audience and not focus on the 3 that keep buying everything. I mean, that's good to have repeat customers, but how much of the same of your work are the same 3 people going to buy? I don't know. I'm just.
It rings true a lot. I'm just not sure what to say. I'm contemplating some of the same issues.
I think the only thing you can do is just, in my experience, just go with what what you feel is the best way to do whatever project you're working on. And I mean, it might get 10 million people behind it. It might not, but uh, selling out isn't a guarantee either. So you may as well just do what you believe in.
Yeah.
You got to create what works best for you. You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't ring true to you, it's going to ring true to nobody.
Because you have to think that you're not the only person that's going to like a particular thing. Just because you think it's weird and the quote-unquote mainstream might not embrace it, there's going to be a contingent of people who dig what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like I said, the audience that I've got right now has been with me for more than half of the length of the comic so far. So I'm thinking they're kind of appreciating what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of have found, it's not a huge audience, but I have found my audience, and I appreciate the hell out of them. I'm not sure that I would have found as good an audience if I did, I don't know, if I did some slice of life gig a day thing,
Yeah.
because I can't hardly write slice of life gig a day comics.
And there's 80 gazillion of those. We don't need any more of those.
Yeah, that's that market is glutted.
Yeah.
And there's only 3 good ones. No.
Yeah, there kind of are. There are only like a handful of really good ones, and those are the ones that have been around forever.
Yeah. I had a thought, but it has escaped me.
I hate that.
Happens every day.
Yeah. It's pretty much a regular thing. Oh, I know. It was just a stupid comment.
Yeah.
I always strive to make something I like, and I figure, if I pay people, they'll take the art off my hands.
I think the business model needs a little work, but I mean, it's worth a shot.
But I'll have a 100% success rate of getting rid of it.
Most artists are happy when they sold out. You'll be happy when you bought out.
Completely new train of thought here. Like, nobody teaches that in school, you know?
We're freaking cutting edge here. So, does anybody have any challenges from the past week? Like specific things that might have happened?
I have a new manager at my job, but that's unrelated. Managers are always a pain in the ass.
Well, communication is important. I mean, it's just because you're an artist doesn't mean you have to lack in communication skills.
That's true. That's probably one of the most important things if you're trying to, get client work or a commission or something. You have to understand and be able to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
That just occurred to me. That would be advice that I would give to. I got to remember this so next time I'm asked. That'd be advice I give to somebody who's coming up out of school or whatever, is take sales classes in college.
Right.
Be able to sell your product.
That would be helpful. I thought of that. Like, I should have gone in for sales or business courses. Because, I can imagine being a crappy artist and amazing at, in business and doing awesome in art.
Cheers. I think I may have seen more than a few examples of that.
Yeah. Don't mention it, John.
Not naming any names.
Shut up, John.
I'm thinking of some people, but I'm not naming names.
No, but it's so true. I mean, you know, it's not the highest quality work that gets seen the most or the most praise. Unfortunately, it's those with a loud mouth and just, you know, a golden touch in business and sales and
I watch a girl named Lisa Lockery on YouTube, and she just recently put up a post about like the 6 tips for becoming more successful on like selling your art online or something. One of those was
How do you spell his name?
sorry?
How do you spell her last name?
Oh, Lachri. I think her YouTube channel is Lockery Fine Art. But one of the tips was even though you're on the internet or on Facebook, if you were in the real world and somebody came up to you and asked you a question, you wouldn't just walk by and ignore them. You know, like a lot of people just disregard a lot of comments they get on their posts.
I do that all the time. Why don't I get business?
That sounds pretty antisocial then, if you do it all the
time. I've got things to do.
Right.
I'm a complete business. I'm a complete bastard. Why don't people buy my work?
Yeah.
Jeff is back.
Yeah,
Jeff
sorry.
Is back.
See, he was just doing his freeze pose.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is up, but anyway, I think it's hard to keep up with when you start getting a lot of comments, though. You know.
Yeah.
I try to answer all mine.
Yeah, it gets harder.
Boy, it's like gets overwhelming sometimes, you know.
Something I haven't had the problem with yet, but I'm hoping for it, you know.
I watched that girl Lackery Fine Art or something like that on YouTube. She's got all kinds of tips and stuff.
I love her. She's great.
Tips or
she seems, yeah, and she can draw really well. She's like more of a fine art type bent. I don't know how.
Oh, I gotta find something.
How well she is doing.
Yeah, keep talking. Sorry.
With online sales and stuff. I actually should check that out. I haven't really went to her site and just saw what she's selling and stuff. I know she's like doing shows and that kind of thing. But do you know anything about it, Sly or Mongoose?
Just a little bit from what she said.
Yeah.
I guess she does a lot of pet portraits. Like on commission. But she's also talked about how a couple of her I don't know, friends who also do art or photography or things, they'll do collaborative projects. Like, I don't know, her friend that does wildlife photography will let her use this photo as reference, and then she'll paint something with that subject in it, and they'll both point to each other and say, look at this awesome painting done by my friend based on my photograph, go look at her.
See, that is something that I should be doing more of, is collaborations with people, because one of the biggest pieces that I ever did was a collaboration with another artist, and somehow I did not take that lesson. It's like, I should be doing more of this.
It seemed like a good way to expand your sort of your viewers, because everybody's got their own, and then say there's different people that watch my stuff than watch yours, and then a certain number of those would find that interesting and come over, and now you got new viewers.
Exactly. See, that sometimes I don't take lessons well.
It's hard to learn sometimes.
It is so hard.
Jeff, I just put a link in the chat. There's a girl, I think she's 21,
Uh-oh.
realism artist,
Yeah.
Heather Rooney.
I
Her
haven't seen.
videos,
Go ahead.
yeah, her videos get like, I'm looking, 57,000,
Yeah.
69,000, 109,000, like huge amount of hits. I mean, it's gorgeous work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long she's been doing it. But yeah, it's like tons of hits. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, her work is gorgeous, but like, what gets somebody there?
I know.
Because I want to be
693,000 hits on this one. That is crazy. And then there's like a Robin Williams one here for like a million and something hits. That's fucking nuts. It's almost 2 million hits on this freaking video. That's crazy. God.
Yeah, and then it's like, I just want 2 million subscribers. Is that too much to ask?
I don't know. You know, it's funny. I've seen artists like that. You know, there's another one called Portrait Art. You know, and I mean, he's nowhere near like that one. That's the first time I'd seen her, and he gets like 20,000 hits on a video, and it's just I don't know what pushes you up that far or what gets people going like that or what, but that's why I always thought, well, the speed paint thing. But like when I was doing kind of like the more speed paint videos, it wasn't getting those hits, so I'm not quite sure what does it.
Do you guys know
Yeah,
if you
well,
can... Oh, go ahead, Peter.
I mean, if you're getting like a couple million hits on a video, you don't need to sell your art. It's like your videos are paying for your doing your stuff.
Right.
I watched one of her videos, the Floyd Mayweather, and it's really impressive work.
Yeah.
But I don't know what kickstarted her in the higher brackets.
I don't know. That'd be somebody to
Yeah.
research. Just kind of see where she's at, where she's posting,
Yeah.
what she's doing. Because sometimes people will get like a boost like that that'll just carry them. Like something will blow up, and then that'll bring like all this attention to them, and then that'll just keep going. But
And she's 21. I find that hard to believe.
God.
Oh, these I'm going to go on a slight rant here. These young whippersnappers with their art skills are really pissing me off. They need to stop it now, because
It's like that 5-year-old kid who makes Axe Cup.
Yeah.
So
that
kid.
Actually, I saw him and his older brother, who does the co-writing and everything, because we're at Emerald City a couple of years ago, and I saw them talk, and the older brother is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan Nicole's a pretty cool dude. I've had the chance to talk to him a few times. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to actually talk to him in person that con, but I didn't get the chance, and I really kind of regret that, because he was a hoot and a half.
Yeah. I mean, like, that kid's got to get, at some point, because that's been going for like a few years now. I mean, doesn't he get old enough that he tried to start writing like better stories, and then the whole thing just falls apart? I mean,
No,
he can't
basically
just
the
stay in
deal
that
was
stage
that
where he's like, because like my son's getting to that stage where he'll start just telling you this crazy story, like I'm on my Batman bike and you got a Robin bike, you know what I mean? We're doing this and that, and you're just like, yeah. Eat your dinner.
So basically, their deal was that they were just doing it for fun at first, but then when it became profitable, basically he'd been saving the money from the Axe Cop stuff to make a college fund for his brother.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So when Malachi doesn't want to do any more Axe Cop stories, they're just going to stop doing Axe Cop stories.
Mm-hmm. And then doesn't he have another webcomic like Bearmageddon or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite insane and pretty funny too.
Yeah.
And he writes all that one himself. That's all him.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely caught some
But this is,
lightning in a bottle. But go ahead, Peter.
I was gonna mention this is completely different, but somebody mentioned in a video about not going in too close when you're doing art or coloring art. I, I wondered about that, and I don't know if you guys know anything about when you do digital art. Does it affect the line quality if you go in too close to the art?
If you don't, there's a bunch of different reasons why you might not want to. Part of it is if you've got a lower resolution image or you're working on a lower resolution image, you can end up spending a lot of time trying to noodle with a couple pixels, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
But there's also the matter of keeping it loose and keeping it energetic, and that means not fussing with too many details. And there was one artist named Todd Lockwood. I read an interview some years back, and he was talking about a piece that he did, and he'd gotten a piece of advice from somebody else to always use a brush 2 sizes too big, or 2 sizes bigger than he thinks he needs, just to keep it loose like that. And because you can lose a lot just fussing over details that don't matter. I mean, they draw attention away from the eye, and
yeah, I thought it was more like losing quality if you went into more kind of thing.
I think it's definitely possible. I mean, if you the pixels you're using are important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't mess around with that digital art stuff.
You should. It's amazing when somebody's. Never mind. I was gonna make a crack, but I'm not gonna make a crack. I'm trying to be less bitter in my old age.
Nice. I did actually try out some stuff. I don't know, a while ago, and I don't know. I can actually paint and stuff doing it, but I just really felt like there was just no art at the end of it. Like I'd get done with something and I'd just be like, God, it just doesn't exist, even though it's on the computer. It's just a weird kind of brain thing with me, I can't even like color like my line drawings and stuff, I feel like that's not done. I don't know.
It's funny, we were talking about this same thing today.
Oh, really?
On the Studio Synergy.
Oh. My friend, this guy didn't grow up with, but knew for a long time, it's like we were both, trying to get into comics and stuff forever, and both traditional artists and stuff, and then once he got on the computer, he just went so straight to the digital stuff, and I couldn't, do it. I was just like, it just seems so different, and now, like, like the other day, he messaged me and was showing me stuff he actually had painted, and he was just like, yeah, I just have no paintings, it's like I actually got my airbrush out and stuff, and I just thought, well, that is weird to just not have, any original art over the last, like, 10 years or something, but it's just from my perspective. There's lots of good, like, or awesome painters, fantasy painters that just, I don't know if they even paint with anything. Any, like, I don't know, no originals.
Yeah, I think that is becoming a more common thing where it's like a lot of artists are feeling like they aren't making something real, or they don't have that tactile attachment to it. But at the same time, my experience is more that I never actually felt comfortable with my tools until I got myself a nice digital setup.
Really?
Yeah, like I always felt really comfortable with a pencil, I guess, but for like traditional ink, traditional paints, I could never clear that gap where I was like, okay, I'm actually comfortable with this until I until I had a nice digital setup. And granted, there's a problem. If this thing ever breaks and I have to replace it, I'm going to be in some real trouble because having a bad tablet is about as useful as having no tablet. But
well, I see it more for like comics. You know what I mean? Like it makes more sense to me because it is like, I don't know, like comic pages. Even like when we were doing pages back in the day, they still weren't. They didn't look like the comics pages in the books. Once they colored them and put the lettering on them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see what you're saying. Like, if you got on like a thing, and then all of a sudden you can bring your like line art into like a finished thing, it's like hell yeah, I'd be all over that, So.
Well, and that's, the lines that I'm doing right now were always the kind of lines that I wanted to make when I in my experiments with traditional inking. And you can make them with traditional inks. Peter could probably knock it out in absolutely no time at all, but I never could actually get lines to look like this or to make shading look like this when I was trying it myself.
Yeah.
And it was always something like that. So when I found digital, those ended up being the tools that worked best for me. But that's not going to work with every artist. Every artist is as different as the art they make.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like the answer is different for every single person. So
So I wanted to mention some the group news.
Okay, cool.
I noticed that I think you said maybe in one of your videos, maybe on the show, about people who post multiple images at once.
Yeah.
And I noticed something recently that if somebody does that and they get comments on each piece, in each individual piece, that you'll have a whole row of them in the group. Like it looks like they posted 5 pieces, but no, it's just they posted a group of pieces in one post, but because they individually got commented on, then they separate and look like different posts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I do. So then all of a sudden it breaks into like single posts and then fills up the whole thing. Which I don't know how to make a rule against that though. I mean, I don't like it either. I wish people would kind of calm down with that, but it's kind of like
if you just make it known that that's what happens, then because we do want to avoid somebody posting 3 posts in a row. So if by posting a group of pieces at once that happens, then that's not a good thing.
Right. I mean, I'm with you, but that's the kind of thing, though. There's like stuff that bugged me, but it's just like I don't know. I don't want to make a rule book that people have to read before they get in there. And then also, where the heck do I put these rules? There's no kind of like area where I can say, hey, this is the rules, unless I stick it in that first bit. But I don't know. So I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying, but what? Where?
Well, I mean, you could put, it has members, events, photos, files. You could put a file together with just basic common sense kind of things in it.
Yeah. No, maybe we should do that.
I
don't know. It seems like every time we get on somebody, though, it seems like everybody's so touchy about anything that I say. Like, I was going around kind of messaging some of these guys who were just like, doing art dumps, like their whole website into the group, and just saying, hey, can you fucking not do that, and just calm down. And there's like the nicest thing I could come up with. It seemed like a couple of them were okay with it, but then like people just get mad at me, you know what I mean? And then I don't know. It just seems like everybody's so fucking touchy on the net about everything that you just can't say anything to anybody. So I don't know what to do about it, that's why I kind of got more moderators so that you guys could kick somebody out. And I don't know. I don't want to be just kicking people out for putting their art up, but I do know what you mean. Like, there's a couple of them that just, that's their system, is to throw up everything, whether they're getting comments or not, and I'm not quite sure what to do about them. Just let them go, I guess. Hopefully nobody will comment. I don't know. It's hard, and then like with that troll guy that came in, just like attacking everybody, and it's just like, I don't know. These group things, it's hard to keep track of what's going on, and it makes me wonder what people are. Well, that one that Travis kicked out, he left a bunch of comments. Travis went and wiped a lot of them away. Yeah, super rude.
Well, if it's any consolation, I think the system. I was going to say, if it's any consolation, I think the system is working because I didn't see any of those.
Really? Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
he was on it pretty quick, but it was like
the action.
Yeah, it happened like at night, and then like by the time I came in, Travis had messaged me, but I wasn't quite sure what was going on. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to make kind of a rule thing, like no multiple posts, then if you can figure out a place to like stick it, maybe where people can see it, I'm all for it. You gotta help me with it so you can help me figure it out, I guess.
There's that part I've noticed in other.
I think if we make it.
Oh, go ahead, Peter. Sorry. Oh, just in the about this group or whatever.
Yeah. Like over there on the side. Yeah, I mean I can edit that, but I mean, stick is that where people usually stick the rules or whatever?
That's what I've seen.
Usually, I also see a lot of places.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can make I don't know if you can make a sticky post at the top of the feed. It's a little uglier, but everybody sees it.
That's kind of taken up though, because it's like we need that spot for the group so that people come to the group hangouts, and then also for the art challenges.
Yeah, the hangouts for the art challenge and.
So that spot's kind of spoken.
Yeah,
for.
so far that's been it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, the about is where I do see a lot of groups that post their rules there, but that becomes like, well, there's 12 chapters I have to read just to post anything in the group.
Yeah,
I know. See, and that's kind of what I'm trying to stay away from, because I go to groups sometimes and I see this massive list of rules, and then I'm kind of like intimidated to post anything because I'm like, I don't want to break any rules.
Well, I think the most important thing, I think it's more important to have a healthy group than it is to have a big group. So, I guess that would be where I would err on the side of caution. And I mean, you don't have to have a huge list of rules, but 4 or 5 is not unheard of. I've seen huge groups with more rules than that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only thinking one rule at the moment.
What is it?
Which comes down to, don't post multiple posts in a row, and if you post a group, then that will eventually be a row of pictures.
Oh, okay.
So that it's like part A and part B, but that's one thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's add that one at least.
Okay.
Let me write this down as a note.
I don't think anything else is not common sense or. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going well. I don't know. Hopefully everybody likes it.
I'm enjoying it.
Are you liking it?
Yeah.
It's nice to hear from somebody from the outside.
No, I'm appreciating the opportunity to see a lot of really nice art, and I don't post as much, partially because my art is not that nice. But no, it's a great community and very, very cool people hang out, and I get to see very nice work. So
that's cool.
That's what I like about it. Everybody seems to be really community driven. They're all polite and like supportive of each other. That's hard to find anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping would happen. I agree. You know, like 99% of the time, that's what's going on in there. You know, so I agree.
Yeah.
That's why kind of, you know, I want to keep it good because you're right. It's like I just hate, you know, not having that on the web. You know, forums are kind of dying. There's no place to go push your stuff at forums.
Right.
And, you know, even DeviantArt's kind of dying. You put stuff up there, nobody wants to even talk to you. So it's just kind of nice having a spot where you can, you know, talk to somebody about your work if you're not going to be attacked by it.
Like what you said when you first created the group, I mean, we could create a forum, but it would be outside of Facebook. And Facebook is where everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes it easier for everybody. And it's just, you know, we got to separate us from other groups, because other groups, yeah, you can go to other groups and post multiple pitches all you want, you know, not comment on your posts and ignore everybody else in the group. But ours is interactive. It's, you know, like I said, we got friendly people, amazing artists within the group, and we're keeping it keeping everybody in line.
You're the one that people are emailing me about, Peter. Keep everybody in line. Just like
I didn't do anything.
Not that you'll admit to.
No, it is good though. No, I agree, and the thing is like the stuff that, you know, people are coming down on, it needs to be come down on, you know, and that's what's good about having a couple moderators is there's a few people around to like stop that shit before it gets all out of control. And I agree with that. The multiple post thing can just like wreck a group. I used to be in that Frank Frazetta Roundtable group. That was like such an awesome group, you know, and man, it's just like a couple guys came in there and just was like just art dump every day, and they just stopped everything, you know. And just that group sucks now.
It was like
it wasn't like their art. It was just like, this is my collection of art. You know?
That's what I saw. Like after you'd mentioned it in one of your videos, Jeff, I went and checked out the group, and then it was just people posting pictures of like just artwork. Like it wasn't even always Frazetta art. It was just all
most of it is
like their collection.
Yeah, which I mean, it's great art and all, but it's just like no conversation, no, you know. And what I liked about that group is they had that, you know, Frazetta challenge there. So like every week they pick like kind of a Frazetta-ish topic, and everybody do a sketch and throw it in, and that was like so much fun. And you know, half the time when I go there, I can't find the damn post because it's so far down the feed. It's like 100, you know, posts down in the feed, and it's just like worthless, you know.
That's almost the whole reason I went to go look at it, was to look at the challenge.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be digging on the challenges, though. I'm sure getting a lot of. I didn't think people would want to do the animal one, but I mean, I got like a folder full of art already from stuff from people.
That's cool. I'm working on one.
You putting one into? That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think a lot of people like drawing animals, and even me, I just like being challenged. So even though I'm not really big on drawing animals, I like participating in challenges because it gets me out of my comfort zone and expands my horizons a little bit.
Yeah.
Every artist should draw animals.
I was thinking you can probably get creative with it too. I mean, like I'm putting a pig in a suit, right? Like it doesn't have to be just, you know, like traditional. This is what an animal looks like in the wild, right?
Yeah.
You might be the third one. No.
Oh shit.
Shit, mine's actually a picture of a woman. It just happens to have a snake on her.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one you did.
I'm like, it's a snake. It counts.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's a
Non-human
cool
animal.
piece. I like that one.
I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
I've really been trying to up my inking game, and
Yeah.
that was one of the pieces that fell under that. So I think it turned out really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's been some people, they're just like dragons and monsters and stuff like that, and I don't know. I just let them in because I guess it's an animal. I don't know. I'm open to whatever people want to do.
Well, you didn't really peg
Put
it
any
like
rules
it's
on
got
it.
to
Yeah.
be a realistic animal that's alive today, and
Yeah. I think for next week or the next month, which I know that's a ways off yet, but I like that one that Marshall came up with, that idea for like the Stephen King, like something from a Stephen King book or movie or something like that. 'Cause
Oh.
that's a pretty open topic and it's
I'm in.
unusual too. Are
I'm
you?
definitely in too. Yeah.
That's cool.
I know what I'm doing already.
I had a different idea since it's October.
Oh,
Like,
it's October.
What if what if everybody did like a black and white piece?
Black and white.
Like it could be anything, but like think like horror or dramatic or
Right, like Psycho or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that for Christmas.
Black and white.
For December.
Horror month, Christmas. Yeah, both those are pretty good.
But
I like
yeah, I definitely think we should go with Marshall's.
Well, I was just thinking that one so I don't forget it, because it's like I already kind of forgot about it once, like when I was trying to think up this one, and then. But yeah, either one of those would be pretty good. Because yeah, that is true. Like October, they don't expect some kind of horror themed, or something.
Well, Stephen King.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Unless
But I
we
guess
get,
that's the reason not to do it.
I was thinking. I think it was at the beginning of last month. Jeff said you were having trouble thinking of an idea, or maybe if you wanted some suggestions or something. I never actually put out the suggestion, but I don't know. Video games are pretty popular, and most people know a character from there. Like do a video game character or something.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That'd be a fun one. I'll put that in my brain and try to
Pick
remember
like
it.
a popular one.
I've actually already got a piece I could drop into that one, so I'm all for it.
Cool.
I'm a big fan of any challenge that doesn't add more work for me.
Yeah.
I already do anyway.
That's the thing about these challenges, I love doing them too, but it's like that's what I thought is like, God, it's just more work. And I always see like on DeviantArt and stuff when they have the contests, and I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna try that, but then I never get around to it before the, before the time limit's up. So I kind of wondered if people would have time or want to do these, but yeah, I don't know. It's a neat little feature to the whole group. Everybody seems to rally around and want to do them.
I think it really ties into what we're doing, because, if you want to show off or talk about or improve your art, the challenges are a really easy way to do that.
That's true. That's totally true. Yeah, it's a good group.
Yep, and it's like between the group and the hangouts and
It was a good idea. I think the hangouts are a good idea too. I don't know. They're growing on me definitely. Yours too, that Studio Synergy one. No, I'm serious. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, 5-hour video. I'm not sure people are gonna be into this, but they almost seem like a little more popular than just even my own videos. You know what I mean? I get comments like all week about the hangouts, whereas just like my videos, it's kind of there and gone. But it's weird how people really kind of gravitate toward like multiple people talking and stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad we have. Oh, Farrell left, I guess.
Yeah, he
We have
said he-
Sly with us today, who's new, and I just keep trying to get new people into them
Yeah.
all the time. And I should put the word out, since Jeff, you're always here. John, you're mostly my co-pilot.
Nice.
You say I'm your co-pilot, but I don't actually
a lot
do
of
it.
time. Yeah. You talk a lot.
Yeah, dude. I won't shut up. That's kind of what I bring to the group.
You're very good at that.
Between
yes.
John and I, we should balance each other out.
Say again?
We should all try to invite people to the Hangouts. I mean, anybody can go to the event page and invite people. So I'm just, want to make that public. That
I almost did earlier, actually.
even if you're not going to be at a Hangout, you can't personally make it. You should go to the event page, and I believe anybody can invite people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's a good point, Peter, because I kind of wondered if I should, hit that invite button. Like, I've invited a couple guys that haven't made it, but I was kind of being real selective. But yeah, I'll put out I'll invite some people. And this week I didn't get my post up about it, but yeah.
Eventually, we'll be full up on a consistent basis, hopefully. But depends on when we're doing it and what time. Certain people can only make certain ones.
Yeah.
So it's always good to throw more into the mix.
Then Pixar really will watch. Once they're
Pixar.
off.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, I was saying Pixar is watching this.
Oh. Yeah.
Because they're going to hire us all tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah. Well, as long as the police aren't watching.
Is there something you'd like to let us know about, Jeff? Could be important.
Outstanding warrants.
I did not. For any police watching this, I did not know about this shit when I signed up. I don't even know who these guys are.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw you all under the bus like that, but it had to be done.
But all right. So what time is it? Yeah, it's 5:45. I think we'll wrap this up in a couple of minutes if it's okay by everybody.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think I was about to bow out anyway. I was about to have some dinner.
Yeah, I think it's getting about that time.
So,
I have to say.
Yeah.
anything you want to mention before we leave, Jeff?
Let me think. No, not really. Just
You got your possible drawing gang that you want to do eventually?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do
Skype.
with that. I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to do something like that, but I don't know if I can actually pull it together and get anybody there with me, or I mean, I was almost thinking more like somebody on the show was talking about like doing like their graphic novel group or whatever. Who was that? Oh, that was actually that Will Terry, or is that his name? Will Terry?
It was me.
Oh, it was you? Oh, right. Never mind.
And I'm the one that's going to be doing it. Yeah.
And I just thought that sounds like an awesome way to get some work done, but then later I was like, I don't know if I'll, if it's a good show idea though, because if we're all just sitting there drawing and not talking or something, it might not be a good show. But
it's not going to be intended as a show. It's I want to get together with a group of people, and some can be some as they want, but I want a core group of people that I get together with at least twice a week, and we work together and we talk about goals and whatnot. But I want a tight-knit group of people I could trust and get advice from, and keep track of what I'm doing as well. and you know, because I don't have people physically here, so I figured I'd do it on Skype and
Yeah.
talk with my friends there.
No,
And so,
that's more like what I was
Yeah.
talking about, and I just didn't really say it that well in my video. Is like that's almost what I'm looking for. Someplace I can, have to be there and, sit there and draw and listen to what they got to say, and it's like that kind of a thing. And
yeah, and it's
beyond a show,
not
just
a
to help
show.
me get my butt in the chair and get more work done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Because
don't know. So
we all have
are you
things
scheduling one, Peter, like that?
we want to hit and do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, are you scheduling
that?
one like that already, Peter? Are you already scheduling
Yeah.
a group like that?
I mean, I don't have yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting the people together, and I got a loose idea of when I want to do it, and as far as I'm concerned, you're part of it. So, whether you can make it or not, that's up to you. But
No, I think it sounds good. I'd like to do that, really. That's just like, I don't know. I mean, like, my whole thing is I'm like kind of, the only time I really can't get on anymore is just like around that like 7 to 10 kind of window when it's like dinner time and family time kind of thing. But if you're doing it at night, which I know
Yeah.
that's kind of late at night for you, though, that might actually be your best time. But yeah, I mean, if it's any time like at night or even during the day, I'd be there.
your time or my time?
What? Well, I was talking my time, but
It was sub midnight my time.
yeah, see, that's not any good for you, is it?
I mean, lately I'm up that late, but I'm not like, I don't wake up in the morning going, I'm going to be up at 3 a.m. It's kind of just happens.
I don't know.
But I'll see what the gang thinks about doing it late. I know some people are up late, so.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if you got it going, like, and I knew what day it was too, I could like, make dinner and just be like, just disappear for a couple days.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm planning to do it like Tuesdays and Thursdays night. At like starting at 10 for however long.
Yeah, so like is that 7 for me? Am I 2 hours or 3 hours in front of you? I think
You're 2 hours?
I think I'm 2 hours actually.
Yeah, so it would be 8 your
8.
time.
So I might be able to do that, like 2 days a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's it's because
it's a good time because then it's like East Coast people can get on and my side. Everybody's kind of home around that time and awake still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it seems like pushing it if you want to do it 3 a.m.
I know. 3 a.m. group hangout next week. Where does John live? Let's make it 3 a.m. John's time.
I'm out on the West Coast, so that's almost reasonable for most people. I keep old man hours though, so I mean,
Do you really?
I'd be asleep by then.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, if you're setting up a group, I mean, let me know, and I want to get in on it, I think. So that's all I meant by when I was talking about that. I think I was just talking out loud. Like I tend to do that when I'm doing my videos.
Okay.
Start talking about
stuff.
stuff.
And it's not. It's not even about seeing each other. Although we'll take some time at the end to show off artwork or whatever projects we're working on and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll just be audios, so it's less distracting and we can actually get work done.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because Skype's got it up on my computer anyway, so maybe if it's just audio running, I can actually, keep some other stuff going too. Usually when I'm on Skype, I gotta kind of shut down everything to kind of keep it not lagging and stuff. I don't know. But
Well, it's like when I record podcasts, I just do audio. I don't put the camera on.
Yeah.
So it runs smoother.
That's cool. I don't know. So anybody else got anything?
No, I'm about to get out of here, so.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing but the work.
All right.
All right. So Sly, you want to plug your blogspot again?
Oh yeah, all right. Slythemongoose.blogspot.com, or I don't know, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all at Sly the Mongoose also.
Nice.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. So check out Sly's work. Oh,
I'm gonna hit that website right now.
Appreciate that.
And we have John.
Heyo, I'm John Grzeski, also known as Zomberai. I've got the urban fantasy action webcomic Everyday Abnormal, and that is readable at everydayabnormal.thecomicseries.com. And I've got a Patreon if anybody wants to show some support, help keep the comic running and keep it running smoothly. And again, thanks for having me on, like you do all the time, because you're incredibly generous and somehow tolerate me.
No problem. And we have Jeff.
Yeah, jefflafferty.net. That's where I'm at. So thanks for everybody. That was awesome. Sorry I was late and had all kinds of internet problems.
Thanks for
I hope you get that worked out.
We'll forgive you.
My pleasure. I did a lot of work on the Artcasters videos recently, just making sure everybody had links, doing tags, monetizing them.
Nice.
But yeah, so things should, more videos should show up on the right if you're watching them and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm Peter Palmiotti, and if you're watching this, then just subscribe to this channel more than anything else. If you do that, then you'll follow along with all that going on, and that will make me happy.
That's what we want. Happy Peter.
Yeah, that's right.
Sad Peter is sad.
Yes. All right. See you again with Artcasters Chat 9. Be next week at some time. Keep checking in.